And I think sometimes we haven't stopped to listen properly.
Right. Gary Kirsten went from one of the most successful cricket players in the world to one of the most celebrated coaches in the world by leading the Indian cricket team to a World Cup victory in 2011 for the first time in 28 years. Join me on the pitch for a chat with Gary. I believe every South African that chooses to stay needs to contribute. The first thing is hope. Is there anything you could give me and the rest of South Africa as something to work towards in order to instill hope in fellow South Africans?
Quite simply, listen to each other's stories. We need to listen to each other's stories because they are very powerful stories, and I think sometimes we haven't stopped to listen properly to everyone's journey and story, and I think that'll create hope. I'll never forget, I was with the Protea team in 2012, and our manager at the time was a Muslim doctor managing the team, a remarkable human being, Dr. Musiji. He asked me, he gave me a lift, I think, to the airport from the stadium in Johannesburg to the airport. And embarrassingly, he asked me the question. He said, "Do you know my story?" And I said, "Doc, I'm embarrassed to say I haven't asked you." So he says, "Well, why do you think I'm here in the cricket environment as a manager of a cricket team?" So I said, "Well, I presume you love cricket." He says, "Yeah, I love cricket. I also played." And he told me a story about how he was the guy that had all the qualifications and performances to get the scholarship at Wits and never got it. And he had to go overseas to qualify himself to get that scholarship. I had a tear in my eye when I got to the airport to say that, "Doc, I'm embarrassed that I hadn't listened to that story." So I think the more we can listen to each other's stories in this country, from all walks of life, we begin first of all, the restorative process and the healing process. But secondly, we find solutions together, because then we can build trust. But if we don't stop and listen to the story, we can't build the trust.
Yes, that's well said. That was well said. I mean, that gives hope, because anyone can do that. You don't have to be qualified to listen.
Don't have to be qualified, and but for some reason we don't hear. You know, we want to tell. We're doing a lot of work in Khayelitsha at the moment through our foundation, and you know, 5 years ago I made the biggest mistake. I walked in there and I said, "You guys need a cricket facility. I'm going to build it for you." I didn't ask them. I didn't say, "What do you think you guys need? You know, do you want it? First of all, what do you think you need, and how can I help?"
And listen.
First mistake I made, but I've learned along the way. So now what we've done, we have built a facility, but it's not owned by me, it's owned by the community. They own the facility. It's theirs. They take ownership and control, and it becomes part of their DNA, it becomes part of their community and their environment, which that's where it excites me.
Sure. That's good.